All right, hello, welcome to the biology department at Victor Valley College. My name is Archie Meyer and I'm instructor in the biology department. And I just want to take the opportunity in a few minutes just to introduce you to just a little bit about the biology department, basically your biology department. So I'm going to go ahead and shift gears. So again, first and foremost, there are many career opportunities in your time in the biology department. And for various reasons, you're going to take classes in this department, but some of those could be you're on the pathway to be a nurse, a doctor, a dentist. You could be looking down at a job where you need laboratory technician experience, or even a coroner with the sheriff's departments. Range manager, veterinarian, zookeepers, marine biologists, botanists, or even you could become a biology instructor here at the college or at a high school. And of course, there are many, many other pathways as you go through the biology department. And I've actually had students come in for one discipline. For example, they're pre-med or they're going to the nursing program. And once they start taking classes in the biology department, they'll shift gears. They'll go through and change their discipline. And I've had a few actually from nursing career go on to be biologists and biology instructors. So some of those educational pathways include our pre-nursing. We're really heavy in support of the pre-nursing program, the nursing program. And for that, you would be taking Bio 107 or human biology, the anatomy, the physiology, and the microbiology. And each of these is going to set you up nicely with that entry level at VVC or any other program that you wanted to go into. Bio majors. This is really a transfer pathway where you take a couple semesters of pretty intense courses. And coming in the pipe, hopefully in the fall of this year, we're actually going to offer a 2-year associate degree in biology. And this is going to help with your transfers into the various programs at the universities and Cal States. General education, of course, we're going to fulfill that general education science requirement. You could take either the Bio 100, the 107. Some of our majors courses are also going to fill that. Basically, what you're interested in, we have a class for that. We have just strictly lecture classes, and that's going to help you with your non-laboratory science units. And you can take those in our biology department. Again, many, many courses. So I want to share with you just some of our courses and give you a little bit more information on those. And so first and foremost, I'll start with that general biology. This is our Bio 100 course. This is where your non-majors would enter. And actually, if you're just looking for a sampling, you just kind of want to get your feet wet and figure out all the topics in biology, you probably want to start here at general biology if you're not decided. Next would be our Bio 107. This is the introduction to human biology. Again, another entry-level biology class, but this time the spin is going to be on the human form. And we're going to teach this course in a human perspective. So you can actually learn quite a bit about your own bodies as you come out the other end of this course. Now for our majors, we have 4 classes, our bio majors. We have the Bio 200. This is a plant class. This is a relatively new class. And look for this to be launched again in the spring of next year. This should be a very fascinating class where you're going to study mostly plants, plant diversity, and ecology. Biology of the cells, just that. You're going to work on the inner workings of the cells, how they help the human form. In fact, all life forms on the planet. So we have Bio 200, Bio 201. Our next 2 in that major series would be Bio 202. This is the biology of organisms. So you're going to have a nice survey of all the different organisms on Earth, starting from those bacteria all the way eventually up to ourselves. And then Bio 203, this is population environmental biology. This is an overall introduction to those topics. And so if you're a bio major, you're going to take some of these classes. And again, hopefully in the fall, we'll have that biology degree up and running. Now for our nursing track, we have Bio 211. This is human anatomy class. I find this class actually very fascinating. This class, you come in after you've taken one of the prereqs, and for this class, it's going to be Bio 107. And you're going to learn a tremendous amount, not only about human anatomy, but about the workings of your own body. And this is probably one of the most fascinating classes that I teach right now at this college. Along with that is human physiology. So instead of the form and function of what's in your body, you're going to learn right down to the chemical and physics, how your body works at the cellular, tissue, and organ level. And so these classes are really hand in hand. It's really going to tell you why you have a cardiovascular system, what it looks like, and how it works. So very fascinating. And not to be left out, I did leave one class out, but if you ever wanted to know questions, and I kind of highlighted things that you might learn in the anatomy course about your body, how it works and where things are. But in our 221 course, our microbiology, you can answer several different questions. For example, how microorganisms cause diseases. They're going to cover that topic. How the immune system of bacteria is used to cure human diseases. Again, how vaccination works, a very relevant topic. How life would be completely different on this planet without all of those microorganisms in play, and how we actually use those microorganisms to our benefit, including the production of vaccine and human insulins. And so this is just a sampling of what you're going to get out of your 221 course or your microbiology course, but you can apply these types of questions into any of our courses. And as you travel through the biology department here at VVC, you're going to really know about a lot more about your world. You're going to know a lot more about yourself. And so you would take Bio 221 to answer some of those questions. But any of the previous courses I've discussed are going to enlighten you more about the planet, more about yourself. And I thank Frank for putting that little piece together for me. I want to kind of end up my presentation with just the biology's mission statement. And this mission statement is there. You can look it up on the website. But basically what it does is it helps to illustrate the dedication that the biology department has to you. Everyone that works in our department is dedicated. We are student-centered, and we're here to help you. Anything you need, please ask. And any questions that you might have, you can direct towards the STEM department, myself, or any of our very capable instructors.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Meyer. Appreciate that. Anybody who's looking for the world of bio, go see Mr. Meyer. Send him an email, check out the courses that he's offering. And like you said, everything that's taught in that class, whether you realize it or not, relates directly back to you as long as you have a human body. Is that right?
That's correct. You're going to learn so much in the biology classes. You're going to come up with questions you didn't even know. And one of the more powerful things I hear coming back from students is when you take the anatomy class, when you take the physiology class, then when you go to your doctors, your primary doctors for your kids, yourself, your parents, you can have those intelligent conversations. You know what the heart does, you know how it works. And so all of those medical visits are going to make a tremendous more sense. So that's just one of this kind of the side benefits you're going to get of taking any of these classes in these departments.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, now let's go ahead and turn it on over. Actually, let's see which way we are going. I'm sorry, biochemistry, do you guys already have your own order? I don't want to mess you guys up. It looks like next we have Paul Tony. Are you set, sir?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself there.
No worries.
Can you hear me?
Sure can. Welcome.
Can you all hear me? Okay, good. Welcome. Well, thank you. So, yeah, my name is Paul Tonning. I am a professor in the Computer Information Systems Department. Just as a little note, if you ever see computer information science, the system and science, they're kind of the same. Anyhow, there's some things that in the catalog I was looking at that need to be changed that we'll get those changed as well. So computer information systems is a support function often. And when we talk about support, what we mean by that is you have organizations, you have things like banks and insurance companies and Amazon and Victor Valley College and different places that require the orderly transfer back and forth and presentation of information. You are, well, right now, I mean, this is a perfect example. We're on this Zoom webinar. We see everybody here, but there are probably at Zoom right now, there are maybe 50 different people that might be managing things like the network and the database systems and all of that behind the scenes. And that's just with, with what we're using right now. Every time you go to a website, somebody created that. Somebody also has to manage that. And what we mean by manage is there's technology like database systems, for instance, that require people with knowledge to put those database systems together, to design them, then to implement them, and then ultimately to roll them out so that we have effective transfer of information. What we mean by that is you can see things that are related to an organization, organizations and people, and it's not just organizations, but you have to have the ability to get timely information and accurate information in order to fulfill whatever the mission of the organization is. That's a kind of the formal definition, but we also do things like teach programming. And so a lot of our students are transfer students in computer science, and they get into our program to take things like C++ programming, Python programming, Java programming, which are transfer to a lot of different STEM disciplines. And well, computer science is a discipline itself. It has nothing to, well, it has very little to do with computers, believe it or not. Computer science is to computers what a telescope is to astronomy. So there are, in computer science, there are questions that are asked of like, what is computable? What are some possible problems that we have that are incomputable? We can't actually get an answer for those. So what we do is teach in our programming classes. We're not really teaching, I tell my students, we're not teaching programming, we teach problem solving. Because that's what people in computer science and computer information systems do, is that they solve problems, problem solvers. And there is a whole framework of problem solving, how to solve problems. It's how to take a really big problem and break it up into little pieces that can then become little mini problems themselves. And so you just break it down until you have very small little pieces that you can fix and put together and build, kind of like Legos. In fact, that's a lot of the analogies that we use when we're building programs has to do with things like, things that are very familiar to students like Legos. I'm not going to reveal how old I am, but I still play with Legos. At any rate, Legos are a good way to start actually with problem solving, as far as taking a design, breaking it down, and then seeing the little parts and building it up. So as far as the program goes, we do have 2 tracks in a sense. I'm gonna share my screen, and if I can get the right one here. Okay, so I thought what I'd do is go to the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics to look at some of the job opportunities that you would have in computer information systems, as well as computer science. The website for our department, I have here cis.vvc.edu/certificates. talks about our certificate programs. We have Unix administrator, we have network specialist, programming one, MySQL database, or databases, database development, database design and database development, and then web authoring. Web authoring is a pretty popular route as well, which is learning how to develop websites that do what websites do, which is, well, here's a website. And they present interactive, smart brochures for a lot of organizations. And then, of course, there are points of contact for information, for help, for the help is taken the place of a lot of help desk functions and different things. And so these are our certificates. We also have a degree in associate's degree of science in computer information systems. And then we are currently working on, or have been for a while, there's been some forward movement to getting an associate's degree, ADT for computer science, which smooths the pathway to transfer to CSUs. So I was going to bring up that Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So basically I took the certificates, and we're going to go over and look at this. The Occupational Outlook Handbook. If you go to, that is not the Bureau of Labor and Statistics website. I'll get that summary. It's bls.gov, www.bls.gov, and you put in a search for computer information systems, computer programmers, and then also web developers, and you'll get the handbook. And so in looking at what they do for web developers, for instance, the BLS is a really good website to go to get a good career outlook as far as what you may want to do, and what you, particularly if you're looking at web development. Web development's been in my purview for quite a few years. I teach most of the programming classes as well. Generally with web developers, it's developing websites, web interfaces, and then there's also something we call web development. We call those back-end web developers. And there's also front-end web development, which is designing the code necessary to do, if you can see my cursor, what I'm actually drawing a picture around, things like this. That is the outlook for web developers. If you go to, well, looking at the pay, web developers that's a good entry level. It's actually a very good entry level position for someone that wants to maybe further and go on in computer programming, possibly, or software development, software engineering, software architecture. The web developer and digital designer is actually a pretty good entry level, and the pay is it's relatively not bad. Computer systems design related services. When they're talking about publishing industries, you're looking at publishing in general, working for newspapers and media outlets and all that. And that's probably the reason why it's 121,000 is probably because you're not going to be living here in the high desert necessarily. However, with the advent of all the telecommuting tools that we have, like what we're using now, as well as well, Zoom, conferencing, things like that, it's becoming a lot more feasible for many people to work from home. But a lot of these median salaries, they're high because they tend to be up in the Silicon Valley area, which has a very high cost of living. So as far as pay, if that's what's motivating you, then it's a relatively decent salary that could support you or your whatever your financial goals are there. If you look at other occupations, this is the one I would If you're, really looking at it for the money, then you have to maybe come over here to this side. You look at the management side, 146,000 is the 2019 median pay. And that's with a bachelor's degree as your entry-level education. Up through software developers, 107,510. Again, some of us aren't necessarily motivated by a high salary. We want a job that we feel rewarded in. And so I'd like to actually chime in on a developer, someone that has to really support people with software. It's not just writing code. You have to have good soft skills. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to work in a team. You have to be able to get along with people in an office setting. More often than not, you're not working out in the elements. But if you do like teamwork and working on teams, all of these career fields require that kind of what we call soft skills. So that's the outlook. I have, as far as students from our program, I've got lists of different folks. I reached out to one or two and I didn't really get the response, but it didn't really get enough lead time. But we have students working at Google. We have students working at Yahoo. We have students working at Cisco. Some data centers in Arizona, I think. I've got, there's one, he works for a mortgage security company up in around San Francisco. And I stay in contact with a lot of my students through tools like Discord. And so there's some really exciting things, exciting career opportunities and different things that they have been able to get as far as careers. Yeah. So,
yeah, this is wonderful. Mr. Conning, if I could ask you, do you have any recommendations for a student, again, that's coming to you, say, okay, if you're into this, come see me? Because we have lots of students who are, young ones who are in high school. Yeah, should gamers come and see you? Should people interested in programming? Do you have any niches?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who asked if gamers should come?
That was me. That was Chris.
I don't know. I thought I heard that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that was Chris. Okay, Chris. Yeah, actually, most of my students are gamers. So if you're a gamer, we definitely have a place for you. In fact, you're welcome home. That's it's actually a good place for that. I personally am not a gamer. I like computer games, but I limit it to solitaire and Pong and not Pong. What's the other one? Pac-Man, or I don't know. I don't even play those. I'm just making that up. Yeah, so I'm not really into gaming. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I have played StarCraft. So that's
there you go.
And that, a lot of students find that kind of awesome, as well. But no, we absolutely, I love the mindset of gamers that come in, because they are natural problem solvers. You see, that's what you think it can be a waste of time. I say, if you're, if you're playing the game because you like finding elf pants and that's what you're going to do, you're not going to get paid ultimately unless you become I had a student that was a software tester for Blizzard, so he made his career out of finding elf pants. And but after a while, you talk to him now, he detests World of Warcraft. When it became a job, World of Warcraft, ceased to be anything that he was interested in. So yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Conning. If you don't mind, hang around. We might have some few more questions to come up. But
Sure.
At this point, let's go ahead and turn things over to our chemistry department with John Nguyen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so welcome to Victor Valley College, and also welcome to chemistry department. when I was at community college long time ago, I was curious. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to learn everything. So and community college is the best place because there's so many different major and different fields, different classes. I ended up taking about 150 units in 3 years. So a lot of classes. And but anyway, if you curious and you come to me and ask, I wonder what can I do, like in nursing or in a healthcare field or engineer field, and I say, okay, we got you covered. Or you're just curious about how things work, and we got you covered. We got a class that when you take a class, this chemistry class, the very first one, you will find out what you can do, and in this very first one, chemistry 100, it's so whether you want to uh, learn, get some knowledge, or curious about things such as how to test, how to make a bar of soap in a with the understanding of chemistry behind that, or how to test for reducing sugars like table sugar that turn into glucose. We got it. So you learn them in here, and so whether you're curious and you want to find out what you can do next in the next step, you take this class, and you will find out, and you learn a lot of good skills. Uh, and each chemistry class we offer, there is a specific goal and a pathway that follow the pathway that lead you to what you want to achieve. For example, Chem 100 is an introduction to general organic and biological chemistry. It's a lot of fun thing we do in here. You get to learn everything. That's the best part of this class, from general chemistry to so pretty much everything in the kitchen, all the chemicals from table salt to sugars to vinegars, or your chemical shell like pesticides, what's good to use, what not good to use, to sanitizer, different kind of alcohol that they use in sanitizer. So it's a lot of things that we learn in here. And if you take the class for a specific goal, it is for it's a prerequisite class for example, microbiology or higher chemistry classes such as chemistry 201, 202. We'll go to that next. And I know that many students in the nursing that want to go into nursing field or physical therapy or respiratory therapy take this class. It's the first class before they move on to the next one in the pathway to the goal, to the final goal. All right. So that's Chem 100. So it's very fun and class with lab, and so I imagine any major that require a class with lab, this is the one. And of course, we have wonderful staff and counselors that will make sure you're taking the right class. All right, and if you're getting serious after you take Chem 100 and you get serious and you want to know more, you want to move up to the next one, we got one for you, two actually. These are chemistry 201 and 202, and these are general chemistry 1 and 2 with lab for science majors such as biology and chemistry. And in this class, so the Chem 100 was the one that built the foundations. You don't have to have much knowledge about chemistry or zero chemistry knowledge, and that will be fine. Have some fun, earn some good knowledge, and get the foundation class done. And these class go in depth about chemistry, and you can see those beautiful water flowers. These are actually my hobbies. I grow them, and they only bloom in the summer, obviously, because they prefer tropical weather. And you'd be surprised, you'd be amazed that there's a lot involved in here. not only the biology, that's fascinating subject, but there's also a lot of chemistry involved in here that help them to grow well, and that help the pond system become eco-balanced. And that's the chemistry behind that. And of course, the fish cannot survive with the chlorine, obviously, and you get a chance to understand the chemistry of chlorine. Why do we call them chloramine? It's a mixture of chlorine and amine with ammonia that react and give us the chloramine to keep the bacteria away. But of course, in the natural pond system, we cannot have that. All right. So anyway, the chemistry is fascinating, and then you get and then you decide, okay, what if I want to go further into chemistry? We got them for you as well. Understand more chemistry, not only to fulfill your requirements, but also the knowledge, of course. And these are also great classes like Chem 206 and 207. That's then you get into the next, the different field, which is organic chemistry, and that's what in life, and biochemistry, where you see the connections between biology and chemistry that come together to explain what's going on in life. For example, fructose from foods and what are the chemical structure? They all come down to atom. You can see oxygen, carbons, and they're all connected in a nice specific way. Galactose come from milk, fructose come from foods. Okay. And I've seen many students taking these classes to prepare them for the next level of organic chemistry and biochemistry, or fulfill the requirement for for a nursing program. Some competitive nursing program require organic chemistry and biochemistry with lab. So we have those, okay, and we have that to cover that requirements. And finally, we got, if you get really excited and want to go into the science field, want to become a scientist, we got those classes as well. The chemistry 281 and 282, and that's my field of emphasis. I specialize in organic chemistry and environmental chemistry. These are the advanced, higher, upper level organic chemistry classes in which we learn organic chemistry, how to synthesize medicines such as aspirin and other cool medical compounds. Well, I've seen many students, so not only for biology or chemistry major, but I've seen students in the field of pharmacy, dentistry, and medical field also taking these classes to prepare them for the pharmacy tests such as PCAT, dentistry tests such as DAT, and medical school tests, MCAT. And we have students in the field of dentistry, medicines, and pharmacies all over the country. Beside this, also good classes for you to transfer to a 4-year university and earn your bachelor degree in chemistry and become a scientist, like or participate in clinical lab science program. And you can see all these instruments. These are the instruments for testing, such as pesticide in food or pollutants in air pollutions, things like that. So so they really cool, highly specialized field of analysis, and also working in a lab, like a pharmaceutical lab. So it's really fun. So we got classes, chemistry classes for every thing you want to do towards your degree or towards your goal, the transfer goal to complete your degree at higher institutions. And so again, welcome to chemistry, and we're always here to help. And our website, here's our website, and our contact, Dr. Montgomery, that's chair of the department, and myself, one of the faculty members. And we always here, we try our best to help. And most importantly, we'll connect you to our wonderful resources and staff at Victor Valley College. And our goal, of course, is to help you to find out exactly what you're good at and stay on track and a pathway to fulfill your dreams. And so you're welcome to email us if you have any questions, or ask now if you have any questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Nguyen.